Hello everyone. So today we are going to start working on the HUD for our strategy game. So here you see in the HUD I have this basic layout. Here we will have the abilities of the selected characters, and here we will have selected unit details, and here we will have a minimap, and then here we will have resource counters. So we are going to just do the basic layout, and then we are going to set up these counters today. Later on we will work on other elements, but for today it's just this part and just the basic layout. So here we are going to set up a data table that can be accessed both from C++ and Blueprint side, and then in the data table we are going to define all the resource types and default values, icons, and all the details you need for each resource type. They will be pulled from a function. This resource counters will be automatically created in the HUD. So here is the resource data table that I have created. We have wood, food, coal, stone, and population. I considered population also as a resource type, so that we can put it in the counter we have here. And here you see, if I just change the default value for stone to 100, you see it is 100 now. So by implementing this through a data table, we will have the flexibility to change the icons or default values or whatever you need with easily in the long run, rather than just hard coding them in the HUD itself. Okay, and also later on we will hook up these values with a save and load system, because as people gather resources in the game, we need to update them, and if we save the game and load later on, instead of default values we will have the saved values here. Okay, so let's see how to do all these things in this episode. And you might wonder why it takes like 40 minutes. If in case you check the length of this video, if you wonder why it takes 40 minutes, because it's not just the UI here, we are going to set up all the underlying architecture of the system as well. And of course here we are referencing Age of Empires as the guide or for the HUD. Alright, and before we get started, I'd like to remind you that you can download the project files of this project and all other thousands of projects I have done from my Patreon page. Once you become a member, you can access anything without any limits, so feel free to check it out. I'll leave the link in description below. And also in this playlist you can watch all the episodes of this series that I have done so far. So I have shown everything how I implemented from scratch here. And also, if you are not interested, this is exclusively using C++, but if you want to implement a strategy game using blueprints, this tutorial might be helpful, because I have covered many strategy mechanics using blueprints in this playlist. So I'll leave links to everything in description below. And now let's get back to today's episode. Okay, so this is a screenshot from Age of Empires 2, and this is the exact layout that I want to try and recreate in Unreal. So here I have already created the icons: food, gold, population, rock, wood, for this part, exactly this part. Okay, all right, and here I have, this is for the bottom. This is where the buildings and stuff. When we select one character, for example, if I select a villager, here we should have the options that the villager can do, and here the selection information of the unit, and here there should be a minimap, which we will do eventually. And this is for the top. Okay, so now let's go here. And blueprints, yeah. Maybe we should move it here. So, okay, let's create a new folder, UI, and another folder, UI assets. Into this, I'll import these icons, all these icons and images that I have created. Okay, now first thing is, let's create a new widget, user interface, widget blueprint. This is the user widget. I'll call it WBP HUD. Alright, now here first I'll add a canvas panel, and let's drag and drop this bottom first. Let's anchor it to the bottom. 0, 0, 0. I'll set the alignment this to 1, so it will be here. Now this is stretched, so to fix that, this is 384 and 350, but here the total width is 1. This is full HD, viewport size is full HD reference, so we need to calculate the height that we should have for this image in full HD scale. So here height is, you can see, 350. So 20 divided by 40 multiplied by 350. So 175. That's the height we need to have. That's why 175. Okay, now it all good. It looks all good. And similarly, let's add the top as well. Let me give this a name. Bottom. BG bottom. Then this is the top. It should be anchored to top. 0, 0, position Y also 0. Now the size Y, this is 100, so that means the same thing divided by 40, 50. Okay, now this is only for testing. Here let's add the level blueprint. In the begin play, let's create widget, and I will choose WBP HUD to viewport. This is only for testing. This is not the way I want to add this, but just to see how it looks. So yeah, this is how it's going to look. Obviously it's empty. Now here we need to put all the counters, and here when I select, the unit details should appear here, and their capabilities should appear here, and the map here. Right, now let's start with the resource counters. According to our reference, we need wood and food, gold and stone, and then population. Let's worry about these things later and everything else. Okay, so for the resource counter, we need a button, and this number says how many villagers are assigned for gathering wood or food. So we need an icon and a number here and another number, a text, to show the total of that resource. So I think it would be better if I create a custom widget for that. Okay, so let's create another user interface widget, user widget, WBP resource, not a button actually, resource counter. Right, now here I'll add a horizontal box. Under this, first thing is I need to add one of these icons. So let's start with wood and put it here. This is the way it looks. So maybe we don't need to make it fail. So let's center it this, and let's wrap this with a border. We don't really need a padding here. So as the border texture, I'll assign this resource background, this button image that I have created. Right, now this is how it looks. And then next we need a text. Next to that, okay, WS there. Let's enter it. Also, we need a smaller text here as well. It should be small. Okay. We need a space. Maybe we do. And before we add the other button here, let's just see how this looks when we have multiple items of those in the HUD. Should we do it in the HUD itself, or should we have another widget? Maybe let's just do in the HUD itself. So here I'll add another horizontal box. Right, so size, say this much. I'll call it HP resources. Now let's add resource counter buttons. For now, let's add 5 of them. This is just to figure out how the spacing and everything works. We need 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. Now, one thing I see here is we don't see a clear enough border here. So maybe here, border, and let's draw this as a rounded box. Width, yeah, width 2. Color. This might work. That's your choice. I mean, feel free to use whatever the color you want. Maybe darkening this would also work. Alright, just see how it looks. Okay. Actually, it would be better if we have this as a reference. So this image, let me save this. Let's import it here. So we can drag and drop. An image. I put it down below. It shouldn't be inside this. Now we should be able to see it. Sorry. Okay. Let's make this a bit transparent. Okay. So here you can see we need to expand these buttons somewhere like this. The thing I'm thinking of doing this is this. Okay. Okay. Seems good. No need to be exactly same as Age of Empires. And this distance, we can adjust the minimum length. Yeah, minimum desired width. Right? That might be too much. Exactly. So maybe 50. A bit too much. But it seems fine. Oh, here. 5. Okay. It does not match 100%, but that's fine. Okay, now this reference is not required anymore. So let's make this hidden. And check once again. This is how it's gonna look. Great. Now the next step is instead of just adding this by hand, I need to create first for resource types. We need to have an enumeration that has all the resource types, and then another data table that has details about all the counters that goes here. Okay, so under blueprints, do we have a folder for enums? We don't. Okay, so to add the enum, I think, well, we can actually create an enum in the editor, but I want them to be accessible in my C++ code as well. Therefore, instead of creating an enumeration here, let's do it this way. Let's create a new C++ class. So an empty class. Let's call it common enums, common enumerations. And I'll add it to my top-down utilities module and create. Okay. Now here, common enums. We don't really need this class or anything, just this header file. That's all I need. Let's delete this from this C++ file as well. Delete. Okay, now come back here, and this is how you create an enum. No print, and then enum e resource types. So this is going to be for resource types. You int 8, and here we can define the enumeration. So like this, first item we need is would you enter like this. Let me add wood gold stone. Okay, we need a comma here. All right, now save everything. Go back, compile. Okay, it's compiling. Okay, so now we have the enumeration, but then we need to create the data table. So in order to create a data table, first folder for data tables, and if you try to create a data table, you need to select a row structure. So basically a struct. But here also, I don't want to create this in blueprints. So we need to create a structure, but that has to be done in C++. So again, in C++ class, let's choose now. Let's call it resource data. It's already in top-down utilities. Create class. Okay, here again, we don't need the C++ file. So let me delete that. And resource data header file. Here, again, this should be a struct. It automatically created. Okay, then let me delete this part. And this should be a blueprint type, just like before here. Enums, because we need to be able to access this from blueprints. Call it f resource data, and these are the okay. So this is what I need. I need to use the resource type that I defined here. So I can include it hash include command enum storage. We need to have this generated use struct body for a structure, and also here we are missing this this the generated.h. We need to have that, but since I manually created it, it's not here. So let's have it. Let's copy it like this. Okay, save. Now everything should be good to go. Yeah, compile. Now this is from resource types. Let's see. Right. We need this. Yeah. So it would take care of this redefinition issue. Okay, that's good. All right. Now we have a custom blueprint structure. Custom structure that can be accessed from both Blueprint and C++. So using this, now let's create a data table. Table, okay. Let's see. Maybe let's try this. Close this. Save everything. Not really, we just need to wait a little bit until the editor closes down. Still no. We need to have this. Okay. Now let's see. Table row base. Save. Here. Compile. Compilation successful. Table. Okay. Here we have resource data. Alright. So let's call it resource dt resource data. Okay. Open it. Now here if I add, now we can set the resource type and display name and texture and the default value. Okay, one thing that I think is maybe it's better to have a soft texture reference rather than having a direct texture reference for performance and memory reasons. Well, maybe not, because this is in the HUD and we always see the HUD in the game, so it's okay to have HUD reference for the texture. Okay, therefore, let's leave it as a HUD texture reference. Wood resource type is wood display name. I'll also use wood, but I don't think we need to display the text. So the texture default value, let's go. Okay. So I want to rename it. Just like this, I'll add rows for all other resource types. Okay, I added wood, gold, and stone. Stone. The other thing that I am thinking is maybe population also should be a resource. So population. Yeah, but I didn't add that for the resource enumeration. Maybe we should. Yeah. Population. Okay, compiled. Now we should be able to select or no. Close and reopen it. It will not reloaded it. Then close and reopen. editor. Okay, now when I reload it, I get this error. I have to recreate it. Delete this and get directors. Data, resource data. Okay, I have done it again. I'll do that off screen. Alright, our data table is complete. Now let's go back to our UI. Behind here, I'll make this a variable. I'll delete all the children of this because we are going to create this through the system, through the program. Delete all, add a function, initialize counters. Now later on, we would have maybe a save system, and through that save and load system, we might read and restore the counters. But right now, I'm just going to rely on only on the data table. So here, dt resource data. The resource data. Okay. Now resource data. And from this dt resource data, get data table. We can access data table row names. And then get row data table row. So here we need to give the row name. So we can run a for each loop for this data table. Maybe it here. Here. Now this way we can break this as resource data, and we can use this to initialize the resource button that we have created. Okay, so let's go back to our resource counter. Here, let's add a function. Initialize count, and as an input, highlight resource data structure. Just call it data. And then we can break this. So with this texture, we can update the texture. Texture, let's call it. Let's make it a variable so we can update it. And this is also text count. That also a variable. Those are the only two things I need to update right now. So texture, set brush from texture, and text count. Text. And the count with this. So I'll just set the default count. Later on, as I said, when we have a save and load system, we will have to update it. Okay, this should be enough for now. I don't really need to maybe we can. Yeah, maybe we can. The local variable to variable. Just let's call it data. If we need to get back access later on. Okay, now let's go here and let's create okay, create widget resource counter. I think this is necessary. Not sure. Okay, so we don't need to break this. Here we can initialize the counter and pass this data. Okay. And also, yeah, we need to add this as a child of this horizontal box. Add child to horizontal box. Okay. Now we have this initialize counters. We can call this function maybe on initialized counters. Okay. Now if I play the game, see, everything appears here, but we don't have this padding. We set it to 10, but it was I manually set it, so it can be a part of this padding for the image. Oh, not for the image, for the border. Okay. Here we don't see the counters, that's fine, but if you want, you can actually do that too. So that might cause it to initialize twice. Yeah. If you call this initialize counters, you should see them here as well. But when you play, it might duplicate. See? That's because initialize counters is called more than once. So what you should do is this. Let's check this. If design time, so that we will see it in here, and also it should be called only once when we play. Let's say, yeah, that's good. Okay, so this is all I want to do for today. I think there should be some indentation here. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's better. Okay. I think we can stop this episode right here. I added an outline to the text so it looks more clear. Okay, so that's all for today. Next time, let's look into how to populate these other things and continue with the series. Now, in case you wonder why did I made it with the data table and then use it to initialize this instead of just directly setting the variables textures and create it in the HUD itself, is because let's say if we just want to update the icon, all you have to do is just update this icon here. And if you want to change the name, default amount or whatever, you can just do it here. So it's one place, so it's easier in the long run. Alright, so thanks for watching. As always, updated project files will be available here for download in the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below. And if you like to support my work, you can get the membership of the Patreon club. So don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in another episode. Goodbye.